Welcome. I'm Dee, and this is the Unguided Life where I am taking it one day at a time. You guys along for the journey to hold me accountable as I budget my way through life. We need to check in on our budget, okay? This is week 3 of my January budget, so we need to see exactly what we've been doing this week and how much we have to go into the next week, okay? So I pulled out my planner because I'm going to use my planner to check my expenses shortly, as well as I did pull out my income breakdown number 2. Income breakdown number 2 is the start of the 3rd week. This income breakdown listed my expenses, the fixed ones, as well as my variable ones, or categories that I have funded in my sinking funds and envelope system. So we need to keep this handy as well. This is my spending record for my envelope system. I am cashless. I do not carry around cash. I use either my debit card or my credit card, depending on how I'm feeling. And so as we can see, I only have 4 categories: food, gas, household, and personal. Why? Because I found these 4 categories is the reason why I go over budget month to month. So I have decided that these are the ones I want to focus on, and if I rein these in, then I know my budget will be good to go. So I do color code so I know what happened in each week. So the first week was the light blue, the second week was the green, and then we have the 3rd week, which is highlighted in a purplish color. Okay, so we're going to put this to the side here, and then we're just going to talk about our weekly check-in. Week 3 went from January 14th to January 20th. And what we had going on with the expenses was we had $1,262. $94 of that came from week 2 because we're still waiting for credit card number 3 to clear the account. So we added that to the expenses check-in so I know to go back to verify that I have paid it. So I am going to use my planner, and I am going to go to the monthly budget layout, and you should have seen this when I showed the planners I'm using for 2022. And so we're going to look at the expenses on the 14th. It looks like they all have checks. Credit card number 4 has a check as well, so we're good to go with that. The phone bill has a check. Then we have OnStar, Hulu, and then we have one for Etsy. So we're just going to add those up, starting with the $94. Then we had Given at $160, car note was $280, cable was $11, water was $39, phone bill was $170, OnStar was $16, Hulu was $14, and Etsy was $18. So that's $802 is what I actually spent out of that category. So we're just going to use this pen. I'm going to use red to indicate that this money has cleared my account and or has been spent. Then when we get to the food category, we didn't have that many transactions. And let me tell y'all, I had me a little visitor here this weekend, or during that weekend. It was Papa. Yay! So I hadn't seen Papa since Thanksgiving break, and I wasn't expecting to see him into spring break, but school was delayed. And because school was delayed, he decided to come home versus where he was at for the break. And so I had him for a couple days, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm finna go over budget because my baby's near me. But I didn't. So when it came to the food, I wasn't really in the mood to cook. I haven't been in the mood to cook, and so yeah, we went out to eat, but luckily some extra money had came in that wasn't budgeted for and doesn't go towards my budget, that I was able to go ahead and use to purchase a meal for us one day. And then we had various purchases, like little small purchases, $15.70, And then $35.02. And then lastly, we had a purchase of $38.75. So $89.47 is what I spent in the food category, which I was so excited because I'm like, yeah, that is so good. So if I wanted to be technical, I am technically over my week budget because I try to stay at the 75 range. So if you want to be technical, but I still didn't go over budget like I thought I was. So that's good. So then for gas, so I did have to take Papa back to school. So I'd already filled up. And so I had some errands to run. He had some errands to run. So by the time it was to take him back to school, I just had to top off for $12.24. And then when I returned back, because it was a return back trip, I didn't stay overnight, it was $30.74. So that was $42.98. Now I did decide that the $12.24, I'm going to pull that from a sinking fund, but I'm not going to apply it until week 4. And the reason is because I have a fund that I can pull from for expenses outside when I have to use travel and gas and stuff. So I'm just going to put that money back. Then for household, we just had one transaction of $9.19. And then for personal, we had 2 transactions of $12.28 and $6. So that's $18.28. So now we're just going to take the $12.62 and we're going to minus $8.02, and that's going to leave us with $4.60. Then we're going to take the $150 minus $89.47, and that's going to leave us with $60.53. Then we're going to minus 60 minus 42.98, and that leaves us with $17.02. Then we have $25 minus $9.19, so that's $15.81. And then for personal, 30 minus 18.28, and that's going to be $11.72. And what I do is I just look at my spending record and look at the ending balances and make sure they're the same as here. So for food, it's $60.53, gas $17.02, household is $15.81, and the personal balance is $11.72. Another thing that we can do to verify that we have enough, because I don't frequently check this account until I look and see that the bill's supposed to clear the account. So $460 of that, we still have credit card number 2. We still have the internet. We still have an Etsy payment. We have the valuable personal property. And I thought I can remember at the top of my head. Oh, we have insurance. Of course, we have our insurance. And then lastly, or not lastly, oh yeah, lastly, we have our stars at $10. So yes, we have enough. We have enough to cover. So we're good to go with that. I'm not going to pull this over until I make the transfer, and then I'll pull these amounts over to know what I'm working with beginning week 4, which starts on January 21st. So this is the expense tracker for the unbudgeted portion of the buffer of my budget, and I haven't used it since I added the $2. And then for the sinking funds, I added in the beginning of the week, and we seen that with the $158 when I did my cashless stuffing against either cashless sinking funds as well. And then there was no spending of the categories in this week, so that was all 0. All right, so the big kahuna is my credit card expense tracker. It's very important that I keep up with the credit card transactions to make sure I stay within my balance percentage. So one thing is that I've been working on making sure that there's fluctuations, good fluctuations, not horrible. And so at the end of week 2, I paid everything to bring the balance to 0. So then we go into week 3. So we had, you know what, before I talk about this, let's first highlight these transactions. So I'll be right back. All right, so we have highlighted these transactions on this page. And so I did talk about in week 2 that I had found the female barber that had cut my hair some years ago. So I did make the appointment, and the appointment was later on that day after I made the payments, and I'm happy with the results, which is good. Okay. And 2 is, I thought this was unbudgeted, and the reason why it was unbudgeted was because I didn't plan on it in my budget. So yeah, and there was no fund to pull from. Then we had a couple of bills. Now usually I pay my phone bill and cable when I pay the storage on the 13th, so by the 15th it clears. I forgot, and as we were driving to drop off Papa, I realized that these bills were due, so I went ahead and made those payments. Because of the time I made the payments, of course, when I made them on the 15th, but they were set for the 16th because of the day. And so, yeah, I forgot about them because my plan was to have this on my February bill, but the 2 bills was part of the cutoff. For my February bill, the billing cycle ended January 16th. I do have insurance on my credit card, and so there's fees. I don't call this well, it is an unbudgeted fee. I don't know exactly how much is going to be charged because I don't know what the balance is going to be at the end. So it was $2.08. So this February bill, it shows $236.72. Some of these transactions, as we can see, are bills, and usually those are paid after they post. So I know that when it's time to do my February breakdown, this won't be the amount that I'll be paying on here. So I hope that makes sense. I, in the past, wouldn't bother with it, but me trying something new, that's where we're at. Okay, so this was the cutoff. So any transaction after that technically is not going to fall into a March bill, but by that time these transactions should have cleared. Okay, so that we have that. So let's go to the next page, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight this as well and get this out the way, and then we'll talk about these transactions. Okay, so we are back, and as you can see, I went to Target, but I went to Target one time, y'all, and I went to Target and got multiple things out of different categories. That's why I highlighted in multiple colors, because I purchased some items that fall underneath envelope system, sinking fund, and unbudgeted. So with the Target purchase, the envelope system purchase actually comes from the food category. And so if you can remember from the food category here, there was a Target purchase of $38.75. That's what the T mean. And then there was a Target purchase of $9.19. So all of this is always in one account, so I can pull from it. I just like using this to make sure I know what I have in each category to spend, so I don't overspend in that category. So that all, when I know when I'm making a payment, I know that what needs to come out of the envelope system account. And then for the sinking fund, I purchased some medicine, and I have an FSA. So I submitted my reimbursement, and then really quick, so I received the reimbursement the next day after I submitted this. And so that's good to know. So I know I have this portion to cover, and then unbudgeted. So Target is gearing up, for Black History Month, and they've already started with putting a lot of their items out. They're all over the store. They're in the food section, they in the entertainment section, the home section, the clothing section. They're going to get you. one way or the other. So what happened was I had seen this year around. They have been like, it's been a larger selection like from different artists, and it wasn't just one. I think last year I felt like it was only one. I think like the Message in a Bottle company. And I did purchase a shirt, but I had to return it because the fit wasn't good for me. But I did see 2 shirts in there underneath the Black History Month collection that I picked up. So it wasn't part of my budget. So that's where the unbudgeted portion come in. I had 2 bills that cleared the account. And then I realized that February is around the corner and I don't have a February monthly weekly kit. So yeah, I had to hurry up and put in my sticker order, but it's not going to be received to me until probably the end of the second, the beginning of the 3rd week of February. So I'm late again with setting up my monthly layout like it was for January. But I did go ahead and purchase March, so we shouldn't be late with that. So yeah, that is where we at with that. So we need to make some payments here. Okay, so let's see. The first payment we need to make, and today is the 21st, we need to make payments for our bills. So the bills that is remaining is 15. Let's put this back here. I'm not sure why it rocks here, but when I sit it on there, it don't rock. So we should be good to go with that. So we have OnStar at $15.99. We have Etsy at $17.59. We have Hulu at $13.90. And we have the cable and then the phone bill. So that's $228.12. So I know I need to pay $228.12 out of my bills account. Of course, there's no credit for that. Then the next thing we have to pay out of is the envelope system. So we need to go ahead and pay the envelope system, and that comes from our Target purchase, and we just discussed it was $38.75 and $9.19. So that's $47.94. I need to pay out of my envelope system account. And of course, no points there. And then we have the unbudgeted. So we have in Target was $27.82 for the 2 shirts. And then we have the $15.03. No, I'm tripping. I said unbudgeted, but no, unbudgeted is not going to be paid. We need to pay our sinking fund. And that is $7.48 from that Target. So I know I need to transfer that money. And I'll show screenshots of me making these payments. So yeah, so that's where we at with that. So let's see what our balance is after each payment. So that's $154.35 minus $47.94, $106.41 minus $7.48, so $98.93, and that is for the unbudgeted portion. And we just double check 54 and then 27.82 and then the $2.08 a fee. So we have 2 options here. I can assign the $98.93 to my February bill, or I can wait until I do my February budget setup and assign the balance at that time. So when I do that setup, that's really is going to let you know what option I chose. And it's based on what's easiest for my brain to process, basically. All right, so that's where we at. That is the end of our weekly check-in. That was like really good. Let me turn it. I don't know, it's just easier to highlight this away. I think it's because I can slap my hand. I'm a lazy writer, y'all. I used to get in trouble for that at school. So let's put everything back away. And we are good to go, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed. And Papa is safe and sound. We were having a storm. So we had a storm the Sunday, the 16th, I believe. Yeah. And so I had to rush and get Papa back to school. And the snow stayed about, just melted yesterday, maybe today or yesterday. And Papa actually, where school was at, they had a lot of snow today. And we had light snow, but the temperatures are low, so we know that it's going to be in freezing. So ice in the morning if I decide to get up in the morning to get out early. All right, we're going to go ahead and clear this away, and then we're going to talk about our debt. All right, y'all. In the meantime, in between time, put everything here. Peace out.